Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Insights. Today, my guest is Dr. Anita Caprice Powell, who has a doctorate in metaphysical science, and she is here today to discuss how our belief systems affect our reality. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Dr. Yolanda. I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful. It is so good to be in your presence. I
Oh,
was so excited to have the wonderful opportunity to meet you at graduation. You're
I
so
know.
beautiful.
I know. So are you. I'm so glad to be your mirror, my sister.
Thank you, thank you. I saw your smile and I said, oh my God, I know who that is. I gotta go over there and see her. It was just awesome.
It
Absolutely
really
awesome.
was.
Yeah.
It really
So
was
how
an
did you get into
awesome.
metaphysics?
You know what? I got into metaphysics. It basically was a long journey, like a lifelong, up until even now is still the journey. When I was younger, um, I had issues with standard religion. Even more so, it made me lonely because you know how you're taught like the standard, you know, God in the sky, and then Jesus, Yeshua, different things like that, and it never connected with me. It was always like, this does not make sense. So we went through Catholic church and everything, but in here, even as a young girl, I felt empty. And I remember even at 16, I'll never forget, I'm 16 years of age and I'm walking down the street. I'm not crying, but the loneliness in my heart that I felt, and I looked up into the sky and I looked up, I said, there's nothing on this earth that could fulfill my heart. I'm 16 years of age, and I'm thinking this. I said, there's nothing, but what I was doing was saying, I'm I'm looking, I need my intimate relationship with a source, with something that is higher than me. It doesn't make it, being a man doesn't make sense to me. Inside I'm thinking I'm a girl, I'm female. I know we have male, female energy, you know what I mean? I didn't know that then, but just my gender, I am a girl that's going to be a woman. So this man thing didn't compute as far as the connection. And then I'm not racist because my grandfather, whom I love dearly, he's made his transition. He's German. So I'm not racist. He's white man. I, growing up, I could not get to the idea when I would go into people's homes and I would see uh, um, this blonde-haired, blue-eyed figure being represented as Jesus and the Savior and the Superior. So in my mind back then, I said, I said, because you can't tell me that people who reverence or people who look at this image see superiority. You can't tell me subconsciously they don't think that the Caucasian or the white ethnic is going to be superior. You can't tell me that. So I rebelled. I was one of those rebellious ones. And like I said, it's not being racist. This is just was a part of me. You know what I mean? So then I just started doing my own thing and just looking up at that sky. I mean, I've even attempted suicide because my relationship with the creator, with the source, has always been important to me. It has always been important. So then at one time, I'm doing my search. Even my brother, he chose Muslim. He's a Muslim. And we both went through. I have the Gehanzen in my bedroom because I have an altar in my bedroom. So I have the Gehanzen. I was even knighted with the knife and went to the meetings. I've read up on Hinduism, Buddhism. I did my search. You know what I mean? I did my search to find out what to establish my relationship with the creator, with the source of the universe. So I'm doing my journey and everything. And even in 1998, after 19 years with Michigan Department of Corrections, I just walked away because that was my journey to say, okay, now it's time for me to really, really, really understand my oneness with this universe, with the ontology, cosmology. and understand my epistemology and all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I left there after 19 years. And even before, when you started the meditation and stuff, and I didn't know anything about meditating in the 80s, and I started meditating. During my meditations, it would say, you're going to have to leave correction. I'd be like, I ain't leaving no corrections. So I stopped meditating because I said, I'm not leaving no job. I mean, health insurance and all this kind of stuff. Well, yes, I did. It got to a point that my spirit said, it is time for you to go. Didn't you say you from the state of Missouri? I got to show you. So you're going to have to step out on faith on a wing and a prayer. I said, I ain't no husband, no boyfriend. I ain't got no savings. I mean, 19 years. So that's what I did. And ever since then, I mean, it was one thing that is helping me as far as like with the metaphysics and everything. For 7 years, there was a serious financial hardship that I thought. I mean, you know what I mean? I was so busy looking at what I didn't have. I didn't have a job. Wasn't able to try to get on food stamps or doing things like this or working at businesses and in my mind failing at them, you know what I mean? And then being afraid and all this kind of stuff. But I wasn't looking at that I may not have food in my apartment, but I would have somebody knock on my door and say, come on, Angel, come on, let me buy you lunch. They didn't know I had no food. I didn't see that. You know what I mean? I didn't see that the apartment that I lived in, the husband and wife said, you know what, for what, I don't know. I see your car that you got a flat tire. Don't worry about rent this month. I didn't see that. That was the universe. That was the universe waking me up to say, listen, quit looking out here. Quit looking out here, trying to see what time of day it is. You need to go here. I'm in here. I'm in here. Then I start, of course, I read the Bible from front to finish because one time I went to a Bible study and the guy said that, the sins of the parents are put on the children. And I have twin girls and my girls were little. I remember going to that Bible study. They had to send me home from work because I was so distraught, knowing that in my mind that there is a source or some entity that's going to punish my babies because of the mistakes I made a bunch of. I mean,
who hasn't? That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn.
Yes.
If we take the word mistake out of it, we're just learning. That's it.
Right. But I'm just saying what my frame of mind was then. You know what I mean? My frame of mind was that, and even if it's just learning, in my mind is that I don't care if I'm learning. I don't care if it's a mistake. I don't care if it's intentional. Do not tell me my babies are going to suffer anything because of what I did. I don't care what the philosophy is or how you look at it. Don't incorporate, don't include my girls. So anyway, I was just so distraught about that. I had to go home. My supervisor, he said, what's wrong? I said, I was crying. I was upset. I mean, I was just out of it. It was at that time that I picked up that Bible and read it from Genesis to Revelation. And then I realized the symbolism in that as well, the teachings of that as well. Even then reading the different other major religions, seeing the similarity. It's all about love, and it's about how you feel on the inside. It's about your connection with something higher than yourself, and that part is, yes, everywhere. And people, how people will say, well, God is everywhere, God is here, but we very seldom say, yeah, but God is also in here. So I started just doing my own. Then I just started doing my own. I left books away because I said, I don't, at that time, I think the Spirit was just saying, no, you don't need other people's opinion. You don't need, excuse me about that. You don't need you don't need to read these books to have so people can tell you what their perspective is. You need to let the Holy Spirit within you. You need to let the Creator in you share with you. That's how we're going to get an intimate relationship. Yeah. So I left all them books alone. I mean, you know what I mean? And then I just started going through the process, because it was a process, because then I had to trust myself. Because then now, here's the self-belief, because I had to trust myself. If you don't trust yourself, you're not having an intimate relationship with a source of all things. you're not, because that's where we get into the self-belief. Self-belief, that's the greatest influence that we have. You know what I mean? Self-belief is going to determine how I feel about my relationship with the creator. How, if I feel that there are deficiencies or unworthiness in me, my relationship is not going to be as tight as I want it to be, because that's even with any relationship. I may have a relationship with a woman, with a man. If I'm feeling a little less than worthy, then my relationship is not going to be as cohesive as it
Because you
can
can't
be.
hear the good coming through. You know, somebody can tell you that they love you and love you and love you, but if you don't have any love for yourself, you're not going to hear those words. You'll
Right.
be contempted by those words, angered by those words, because you don't
Absolutely.
understand, why would you love me? How
But
could you give me unconditional love when I'm so imperfect?
right. Absolutely. And then yeah, and then learning to love yourself. Because even and the reason why I'm picking self-belief, because that is the foundation. And it just came, I'm 63 years of age, and I share with people, I said, what I'm sharing with you, I'm not sharing with you what I read. I'm sharing with you my life. I'm sharing with you, I lived, I see the difference of my self-belief, how it is transforming and transitioning into certain things. I can see how my boundaries are kind of minimizing. I can see how I'm feeling more happy. So basically, my thing is, I want to get in in helping people, because basically you bring it down into nuts and bolts and peel it down. I want to make people happy. I want people to be happy. And I know the first thing that you're going to be happy is when you have a different belief about who you are. Do you know there are, and this is another thing too, because it breaks my heart, veterans, there are 7, how does that go? There are 7 veterans on average that commit suicide within a certain period of time. That's hopelessness. That's helplessness. That means there's an emptiness here.
Mm-hmm.
There, in Michigan, where I live, there is 1 suicide every hour. That is hopelessness. When we get to the point where we've really, not here, because we're here, we're so intellectual that it's, we're so smart, we know everything. In here, when we know it in our heart, which is, that's what the Egyptians said back in the day in ancient Egypt. They said the heart is your truth. That's your truth center. That's why they reverenced the heart, because they said everything is in your heart. And I remember just come, waking up. A lot of things come, when you wake up and everything. And I remember I'm hearing,
As
I
in, you're talking about having spiritual awakening.
yeah, I hear
Okay.
it. I call it like a see, hear, feel thing. And I heard something about said, your heart is your home, and so many people are strangers in their home because we don't know what's in our heart, and that's where the universe, like I call it YOU, your own universe, your own chakra, your own electric energy that comes out. But then then getting back into the self-belief, what's in here, my universe is going to be reflected out there, because the energies in here, if it is, I am not worthy, I am not deserving, I am not enough, I am not loved, I am not loved, because there's only 3 things. It's not complex. It's not like, like, oh, it's a big deal, it's a whole milieu of things that you got to peel onions. No, it's not. Either you don't feel worthy, you don't feel deserving, or there's a huge, and that part is going to be because of guilt, or you don't feel love. That's it.
And
And
fear,
that's my
fear,
thing
fear
is,
to look within. That's what I've
well,
seen a lot of. That's why
well,
people are not going, because they believe that there's a judgment. That this almighty being is going to judge me for perceived mistakes that I've made. And if I look within, I'm terrified of what I'm going to see. I'm going to see the real me, which may be a monster.
that's the self-belief. There you go. That's the self-belief. That's that outside validation one, because we look outside for validation. Let me show you how to do something. That's why I loved coaching when I got my certification in coaching, because coaching is not, let me tell you something. Coaching is, let me guide you so you find your own truth. because your own
Yes.
truth. Just like being at a church, people say, you know, God told me to tell you this. And I would say, well, God didn't tell me. So my mind is, well, he going to tell me first before he tell you. I mean, kind of thing. But we look for that outside value, that data, external data, information. We look for
Validation, yeah.
outside validation. Self-belief just means I know it's okay to say I know I know who I am. There are things that I don't know, but I do believe that I am connected. I do believe self-belief that I'm not alone. I know that I don't have to be. I know I'm in control over different things. As far as self-esteem, Nathaniel Braden, he mentioned like 6 pillars of self-esteem, and there's really 7. Well, you know, self-acceptance is that's what we do. You know, we accept, and then that self-esteem is who we are. That's self-belief. What do I believe about myself?
Exactly.
Why do I believe that about myself? And a lot of times, and I was just sharing with a sister recently, and it ain't no big deal. Sometimes we be taking things, oh, it's so serious, so serious. No, it's not. It's not a big deal, and that's what I want to lessen that thing up too. Because Yeshua had said, you know, you come to the kingdom, and here you come as a kid, not as no adult. Because we so complicated, everything complicated. Come as a child. That means innocence. You know,
And
when
imagination.
when I was growing up, I didn't have any worry about no food.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have worry about that there was a roof because I had faith. That was just that child faith. It wasn't called faith. It was just is. You know what I mean? So I was sure. My thing is what I'm learning as far as like goal setting, and I'll see an intention. But I would share people. I've never been a goal setter. I mean, I've failed at stuff, and now I realize learning, going through the process of appreciation, going through the tools, self-recovery, the meditation, the gratitude journaling, the visualization, visioning, getting the vision, praying, talking, and meditating, receiving, and then contemplating, because that's what I want to share with people too, that a sister shared with me a long time ago. We talk about meditation and prayer. She said, but there's a component people don't know about. That's contemplation. When that's Eckhart Tolle, when he said in the now. When you are in the now all the time, that's contemplation. I don't have to step aside to be quiet. I don't have to step aside to pray. I can if I want to, but I know at all times I'm in the realization and the and the presence of the Alpha, the Omega, because I am.
I am. You can't
I am.
have a discussion about belief systems without discussing the power of I am. And for those who are not quite in the know, those are your words of power. Whatever you put behind the words I am, you will become. You know, you want to say, I
Absolutely.
am love, I am honest, I am worthy, I am enough. Begin to retrain your vibration from all the outside stuff of feeling like you need validation from your parents, your grandparents, and the churches and whatever, and realize what truly dwells within you is spirit, and connect with that spirit.
Yeah. Because who was that? Telliard, Pierre Telliard, and they said other people wrote it too. But he's being credited with the saying that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
Because we're energy. Like Pythagoras, I'm a numerologist. I be doing my chart. I look up my days, and I do my year every year because I'm I believe in numbers, and especially since doing my dissertation, knowing about the harmonic resonance and all that of the universe and the earth, it's all mathematics. And with Pythagoras, you know, he indicated all what Einstein said is all energy. Pythagoras said is it ain't number numbers. So you got numbers and energy. And when you know how to put those things together, that's when you're in divine flow. And I mean, you know, it's so simple, but yet it's amazing. And that's what I loved. I was thinking about you, Dr. Yolanda. I was thinking about, like you call it a quantum hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it. It came to me. I said, you know what? When because I did my dissertation on music, quantum, and metaphysics, and how they all connect and everything. And one thing I learned, they said one thing about quantum physics is that there is a particle that what it is quantum. You can be in more places than at one time. And I
Yeah.
thought about what you do. I said, yeah, that person, when they go into that past life regression, they're in more than one place at one time.
Oh,
That's quantum
100.
physics.
Because
Quantum physics.
as I understand it, the way Spirit explained it to me, my guide, Samuel, is that everything is happening right now. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, being younger, I can't grasp that. You can only grasp your own timeline. But as you
Mm-hmm.
begin to awaken and have that experience, you realize your birth, your death, your life, your journeys in every way possible is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a big leap in hypnosis. All I'm doing is guiding them into a state where they can see, feel, react, and be in those other
Right.
lifetimes that have some pertinence on what's happening to them, what they're experiencing now. And it's,
Right.
I can tell you, it's very, very real for my clients. It is,
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, some of it
sure.
is heart wrenching. The love that was lost, people that were
Yeah.
killed and have finally been able to make peace with it. It is amazing doing what I do.
Amazing. I know,
It
I
is.
know. I mean, when I thought about that, I said, that's beautiful. I mean, that's beautiful work. I mean, you know what I mean? But that's, but isn't that what that's one thing I like about International Metaphysical Ministry and metaphysics. Our I love the non-distinction that we are all ministers here on
Yeah,
earth,
yeah.
because minister means to serve.
Mm,
How? If I want to clean, I remember a guy I saw a video clip, and the guy was cleaning the floor of a junior high school or elementary school, and they were planning something for him because he was just so special a part of that school. And they asked him a question. They said, well, why do you do what you do? He said, it is my good pleasure it's my job to make sure these floors are sparkling clean for my students. That's a ministry.
mm-hmm.
That is a ministry. Everything that we do, we are here, we are our brothers and sisters keeper. We are here, everybody's here to serve in one way or another. And I like how Oprah, she said our work is matching our power center with our personality
Mm-hmm.
and merging those together, because that's your purpose. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I love that. When she first said it, I said, I know that's right, because that's connecting the human with the divine. Why we're here, because we're all here for a purpose. I mean, you know what I mean? Doesn't have some of it's not doesn't have to be so global, or it could be petite, it could be grand. It can be in metaphysics. It doesn't have to be. I mean, whatever
And
whatever
anyway,
the
just
purpose
like these
is, just
conversations that,
to make people happy.
yeah, and just like these conversations that I have with other metaphysicians such as yourself, to let
Mm-hmm.
people know, number one, we are here, we are practicing, and let them know that you're not crazy and you're not weird. You're having a spiritual awakening. And it is going to
Mm-hmm.
feel unsteady. It's going to feel like somebody hit you in the head with a 2x4 at some point, because your whole
Mm-hmm.
entire life is going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But the new life that you're given is truly divine and glorious and beautiful.
It
Every
really.
aspect of it.
But see, that's why I like the millennials. See, we're coming as far as this particular thing. There are millennials coming up, and these millennials are they're saying the tradition is not working.
Yeah.
They're saying that I have a relationship. I know that there is a creator, but they're questioning, and I love it. They're questioning, and they may not just saying that it's metaphysics, because I try not to get into those columns, those titles, and all that kind of stuff, because that's separation. That's one thing I had with religion before, because everything is separate. Oh, I'm this, or I'm this. I'm like, okay, so that was just an issue for me. So I'm trying to minimize that thing, just saying, okay, no, it's a service, it's a ministry. It doesn't have to be a title to it. It doesn't have to be separate from this or that or anything. But these millennials, they are saying they don't have to, they're understanding that I can go to church and sit in my house and close my eyes and do. And what is that? I mean, that's through the seven major. I'm reading this excellent book, Divine Educators. That's all they be saying. They're saying it's your personal relationship with the creator. And these millennials coming up, it's one of those, this stuff is not, well, it's never been new, but what's going on, there are so many people that are saying, this, it's not a rare. One time in the 60s, it might have been metaphysics, it's kind of rare. No, it's not. Or this way of thinking, however you want to call it. No, it's not. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's just,
the new ones beautiful. That are coming in are not they can't put up with the system. And that's wonderful,
right.
And they do feel weird and out of place. Like, like at some point we felt weird and out of place. But we came to be the forerunners of what they're putting down. They needed our vibe here. We needed to be different. We needed to say, look, this religion doesn't work for me. It's not an insult to you. It's not an insult to God. I'm just telling you, there is a God who brought me all the way here. And you're telling me that if I don't find some imaginary path that you laid out, I'm going to burn in hell forever? That doesn't even make sense. It makes no sense. I figured that out when I was 11.
Right.
So no.
Right. I know. But it's, and it's fun. It's just such a, I don't, it's still a journey, and there's still so much to learn.
Yeah.
And I see the millennials, and see, that's why my audience is like 50, because I said what they're learning, praise God. When I share with my daughters, they went to church only because we went to Catholic church, because I wanted them baptized. But as far as going to church on a regular, no, we didn't. But we prayed before we left out that door. We did certain things. And now, now I just sisterhooding and sister connecting. There's a lot of us 50 and over. It's like, I don't know what I want to do. And yes, you do know, you know what I mean? There's a lot of us who are unhappy. And not make, well, because happiness is an emotion. So I want to get beyond that, because happiness is still a physical thing that's derived from basically outside. The feeling. There's a lot of us that are absent of that feeling. Because that feeling is that connection. That feeling is when I trust, when my stomach do so and so. That's not an emotion. That's a feeling. That's my connection to the universe. And a lot of us are not there. Well, because we just weren't taught that. And I know that there are a lot of us that are unhappy, that don't need to be. And like I said, bringing up that suicide stuff, that's my, that was it. That's it for me. My thing is, that self-belief, and it's something that can be altered, subjugated, eliminated. And it's not a difficult, and that's another thing. It's not like, oh, you got to go through extensive therapy. You got to go and crawl like a baby, and you got to go through these things. I mean, I know that I've had some issues. I mean, we all have a story. But my thing is, I'm the way I am here. I don't, just like I'll share with claimants that I do with my unemployment. Sometimes they'll stay on the problem. I said, listen, that's the problem. Okay, let's leave the problem alone. Let's work on the solution. That problem don't have nothing to do with here if we don't let it. Okay, that was a problem. Okay, so now let's work on the solution. So my thing is with self-belief. Okay, that was, I could say, okay, I was this and I was that. I could do that. But my thing is, that's then. And that was then, and even coming to find out, going through a forgiveness radical experience, I've learned that nothing wrong happened. Whatever happened during that time, that was for the elevation of my soul. And you talk about something that was liberating. I'm like, it's like, wow. Nothing wrong happened. So if nothing wrong happened, it was for the elevation of my soul, then I want to appreciate. I was like, you a bad sister. You know what I mean? I said, you a bad sister, girlfriend up in there. And it's not about that. And it's also forgiveness. Nothing. These people did what they were supposed to do. I love you. I forgive.
I truly believe.
I forgive.
I truly believe what Shakespeare said, that all the world is a stage. and we have our roles to play. So
Uh-huh.
if we individually see these things that are coming into our life as being neutral, the things that we would normally label as a problem, but label it as neutral. Something's happening that you feel is bad. Just say, I'm going to find the good in this situation. I am
Mm-hmm.
determined to find the good in this situation. You
Mm-hmm.
will see it in a completely different light and you won't have such
Right.
negative effects. That's the
Right.
control you have with your belief systems.
That's there you go. Self-belief. I
Yeah.
can choose to wake up and say, wow, this is a bad day. I believe. I can wake up and say, wow, this is gonna be good. And you know, it happens. It happens. Sometimes I do it on purpose. And sometimes I forget. Um, like today, I woke up, I said, it's gonna be a beautiful day. Now I've been involved, this particular what I was sharing with you, this hearing, this was something that was, I've been helping unemployed workers get their benefits, representing them and doing this since 2004. This one case, I have not had something like this ever. I mean, it was because it involved civil litigation and then administrative. And then I was put in the mix of both and having to try to explain to someone that they're different things, but still I felt pulled. I mean, at one point I cried. I felt overwhelmed. I was speaking with a judge who's a friend of mine, and he would give me. I said, but I'm just feeling overwhelmed. All this, I mean, stacks of paper and all this kind of stuff. I woke up today. This was the last day of this year. I just woke up. I said, it's going to be a glorious day. Shoot, universe took over that hearing. Universe took over that hearing because I said, take over. I said, either share with me, you know, what whispering in my ear coming from, or just take over. Because that's another thing I'm learning. Let go. I don't have to be in control. I don't want to be in control of nothing. My thing is showing and teaching people, learn to just be in divine flow. Don't worry about what you don't know. Don't worry about it.
It's absolute surrender.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just be. And it was, I'm telling you, after I hung up that phone, I said, yeah, I said, show you right. I said,
Awesome.
you Lord have mercy. But yeah, so that's basically, I would, and not to go off to into the past or anything, because even people have said, well, you know, Anita, you need to share your story, different things like that. And my thing is that I don't need to share every bit of detail. What inharmonious things happened in my life. Number one, there's some things that my daughters don't know about and they don't need to know about. Number one, because that would hurt them. And there's no reason why I'm going to share something for them to be hurt and say, but I can't do nothing about it. I'm not going to. I don't, I'm not, that's not me. So another thing though, I say, you know, I believe in energy, and I share with people. I said, you know, what I'm doing is sharing with people. I say, hey, I'm living. What I'm sharing with you is that I'm living. I I just believe that because I'm sharing an experience, and I just learned that because they were talking about. I was looking as far as business, and you know how they say, you know, you have your skills and your talents, and you combine them together. I'm 63 years of age. And it just came to me. They're not talking about, metaphysically. Yes, there are things that you read those books and you get your intelligence. Your talents are your spiritual fruit, and your skills come from your experience. When you really, that's where empathy comes in. You know what I mean? Empathy. When 9 times out of 10, if someone's to feel something, it's the empathy. I remember a friend, my former supervisor, he used to supervise people on probation, and he said he had someone who was addicted to drugs, and he was a counselor. And he said that man came in, he said, you can't tell me nothing about it. Unless you were addicted to drugs, you can't tell me how I felt. You can't describe that, what I felt. So I always just share with people. My thing is, and um, uh, not to impress upon anybody, but just to say that when we're talking and we're engaging, I don't feel I have to share with you what my experience is, because if we're connecting in energy, you're going to feel me. You're going to be able to look at my eye and say, that sister know what she's talking about. That sister's been there. She's been there. So I can trust her. I don't have to say, oh yeah, well, this happened for me. You know what I mean?
How does all this knowledge translate for you in the metaphysical world? Are you working as a teacher, or what are you doing as far as metaphysics in the work world?
Oh, bless your heart. Yep. Well, I just I do my spoken word, because I've been doing spoken word since 2000. Wait, this 2019. Last year, I stepped over my fears, and I do spoken word, my poetry, and that's always been metaphysics in nature. It's
and
always
that's
been going.
You do like live on a stage, or you
I
write?
do.
Okay.
I do. Well, I have my book. I do have a book. Oh, I do have a book. But yes, I go throughout the city. This year I went to Thailand. Tomorrow next year I'm going to Egypt. Is
that where that picture of the leopard
the
came
panther,
from?
that was in Thailand.
Oh my goodness, girl. I saw that picture, my face just dropped. I was like, oh my God, what did she do?
That was in Thailand. Yep, that was in Thailand. And I enjoyed, you know what, Dr. Yolanda, I enjoyed presenting my spoken word on stage. But I got to tell you, holding that panther walking on my shoulder, I said, now that was the it.
That's just meeting nature right there.
Girl, I mean, just in my mind, I'm thinking, this is another total species of God, and we're connecting. This is supposed to be a wild animal. I mean, he was heavy as all outdoors. He was over 60 pounds. So, but I mean, he was just, I mean, it was just beautiful. But I knew, you know, people say, well, were you afraid? I said, no, because before I went in there, I had already said, if I feel anything in my stomach, I ain't going in there.
You gotta trust those gut feelings, though, don't you?
Yes, Lord. I said, if I feel an inkling, but when I got up there, I felt so much at peace. I said, no, it's on. It's on and popping.
What a beautiful
he jumped up
memory.
in my arms because it was a video, and I said, oh my, that was just amazing. It was just amazing. I fed him a bottle and everything. I mean, this baby, you know.
That is so wild.
That was so
what about your book?
Huh?
How many books do you have out now?
Well, I have my third. I have a Reflections of an Angel. It's the third edition, and then I have it's called a Thought Massage, an Intuitive Guide, and then I have a workbook called If Then, Deductive Reasoning, where and these are all self-recovery tools. It's like an activity. Like if I were if I were a rose, I would, and you describe in detail what kind of roles you would be, and really what you're doing is going inside and just pulling out different things. I have the books. I have my self-recovery cards. Isn't this beautiful? Let's see, can you see that?
Pull back just a little bit. It's a little blurry.
Oh, it's a little blurry. Okay, yeah, but it represents that we're the treasure. The map is within. Love is the compass, and everything. So that's a deck of 60
set of cards.
Decks of 60 cards. It comes with a crystal.
And you made this yourself?
I did.
Oh, awesome.
So it's a self-recovery too. I have my mantra: I am worthy, I'm deserving. Tap into you, because it's a tap into you. Everything that I do is tap into you. TAP, and the number 2 U. Representing the 3, the Trinity, the 3, the 6. 6 is love and responsibility. 3 is creativity, the creation of it all. So I have those 2, and then my wristbands. Ooh,
I love the wristbands. I saw those yesterday.
I just love these. Yeah. I tell this, that helped me. And there's sometimes and just even so I look at it, it says, oh, the journey is beautiful, so are you. And it just puts a smile on my face. And, basically I just want to put smiles on people's faces. And, because life is beautiful.
It really is.
Life is beautiful.
As soon as we get over our own BS, it gets really beautiful.
There's still some in there, but
unnecessary baggage. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still got the BS in the baggage, but I know it's there and I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not. I'm at the point that no, I don't. It ain't serious.
I heard a very interesting acronym regarding the Bible. somebody said the Bible meant basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
And I thought that really touched me. I was like, okay, you know, I think a lot's missing in the book, and it's meant to compartmentalize and to confuse people. It's just, as you say, this figure of this blonde haired, blue eyed man. When you think about what we as women of color, what our generation before us have done, you've historically put a white man in the middle of your relationship, or you put a white man at the head of your relationship, and you don't even realize what you've done.
Subconsciously.
Think about the possibility that this man was speaking an Afro-Asiatic language, which was Aramaic, in an Afro-Asiatic country. It doesn't make sense that he looked like that. So as we did a little bit of research, it seems to be this young man was named Caesar Borgia, and he was the son of a pope from back, I think, like in the 4th century or something. And that's where that image came from. But we were not free to even create a Jesus in our own image, because the younger generations, when they did do that, they were beaten by the priests and by the nuns. So this is one image, only one image, and you're not allowed to ever alter it. So I just want people to think about what they're doing, to truly think that when you have this image in your home and about your belief system, you believe this is the Lord and Savior. You are always, as a Black woman, putting that white man above your man. And that's a dangerous situation to be in.
It is. My thing is, if that were the truth, because that's my thing is, if Yeshua was that of that complexion and different things, and had the hair, I have no issues with it. It's not that I feel that's a wrong image. I'm not there. My thing is, I just want to know the truth. So I'm not going toward that negative. I'm going toward the positive. Said, but that's not the truth. And one thing over here in Detroit, there was the 1968 riots. Please, 1968, there was a huge riot right up on Oakman Boulevard, and there was the Church of Madonna, and they had Jesus, big, huge statue. Boyfriend got skin as dark as your keyboard, and it's to this day. It's still the same thing. It never was changed.
So they were fighting over the image?
No. It was a riot. It was 6/7 riot in Detroit area. It was regarding like a police. It was like a speakeasy thing got raided, and it broke out into a riot. Well, in the midst of it, there were looting and breaking in stores. It was a big to-do in the city of Detroit. Well, they had other riots in other cities too. In Detroit, it was they had the tanks and all that stuff. But in the midst of all that, somebody threw some brown paint on the image of Yeshua on this statue, and I love it, because that was 1968. And that statue is still the same thing. That you drive by Oakland, you're gonna see a black Yeshua.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
Well,
there are kids driving up and seeing that.
It's just as shocking as finding out that there was a Black Madonna. A lot of European countries completely recognize the fact that Yeshua was a man of color, and they make pilgrimages each and every year, walk miles upon miles to go pay homage to this figure. But we don't have that here in America. The European museums are full of the information about the Moors, that we're not getting here, that were, in kingdoms and had money and gold and riches, all sorts of things. We can't complain at this stage of evolution. We can no longer complain about what we didn't learn. We have a responsibility to write our own books and to tell the story the way it's supposed to be told. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for being my guest today. Thank you for stimulating the hearts and minds of my viewers.
I just love you.
Love you too.
This was so much fun.
Yes. You guys keep tuning in. You can check out Kindle. I've got some new books up there. My dissertation, my book on ascension, and my new textbook, Metaphysical Matters for Beginners. And also, I just uploaded a word puzzle and word search book for you guys, all metaphysically minded.
Wow.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you all.
That is so cool.